Hello, my loves, and welcome to Create Your Life. My name is Simone Leah, and I am your host. And I am so excited to be here with you guys today because today I have the absolute pleasure of asking you guys the hard questions. So today I'm inviting you to ask yourself, who do you actually want to be? And what life do you actually want to live? So this is coming up a lot for me at the moment because as you guys know, I've been traveling around for the last 2 years, living out of a suitcase, spending a lot of time in Europe. I've been to Asia a little bit and I've really loved it. And the other day I was talking to a friend of mine that I haven't seen for a little while, and she said, "How are you enjoying being back in Australia? Are you glad to be back?" And my response was, it's less about being back in Australia and more about whether or not I actually like the person I am when I'm here. And I found that to be really interesting that when I was point blank asked if I liked to be back in Australia, it wasn't about the country itself that I'm in. It's about the version of me that I am in this country. And that comes up a lot in different stages of everybody's life. Every country you're in is going to have a different energy and frequency, and you're going to be a different version of yourself in those countries. But also, every season of your life is going to have a different frequency and vibration. And as we know, guys, frequency and vibration is literally what we are. We are energy. Now, as you know, if you are going through a motherly period, like if you're pregnant, you have a different vibration. If you're a mum, you have a different vibration. With each romantic relationship, you're a different version of yourself. If you're studying in university, you're one version of yourself. If you're working in a job and then you change jobs, that's another two different versions of yourself. So every single part of life, every single wave we have is going to go through different vibrations and different versions of yourself. And so today I invite you to really think about, are you the version of you that you actually want to be energetically and vibrationally, guys? Now, the reason I say this is because when I was in Europe, as far as my physical reality goes, I loved that reality, but I wasn't necessarily showing up in my business the way that I wanted to be. I was having an amazing holiday and just having a fun time, and I really loved it. It was really great. So I wasn't necessarily physically showing up the way I wanted to, but vibrationally, I loved that version of myself. Vibrationally, I loved the way I felt. I loved what I had created. I literally loved my entire life. I loved everything about it. Now I've come back to Australia, and while I love everything I'm doing, vibrationally, I don't love who I am, which is really interesting, guys, and probably quite the overshare. But what I've noticed is that in Australia, I'm energetically a lot denser. I'm a lot more serious. I'm a lot just heavier and more in my masculine. And it's harder for me to draw on that beautiful feminine essence and creativity and play that I have when I'm in different countries. And Australia itself has a very dense energy. But the version of me that when I'm in Australia, I tend to be that version that's just like, let's go, let's get this done. Boom, 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 which is so great. And it's such a great version of me. But it's not the lightest version of me. It's not the highest vibrational version of me. And it's really interesting because I like who I am here. It's not like I actually love who I am here. Like I'm really proud of myself here. Like I love what I'm doing. I love what I'm creating. Like I love how I'm showing up in a lot of ways, but I just don't have that same beautiful light, soul shining bright energy. And it's actually really interesting because if you talk to other people, they still see that. They're still seeing that bright soul shining energy that I have, but I'm just not feeling it as much. Like I'm not feeling that I don't know what it is. It's like that lightness. I'm not feeling that lightness that I've had so solidly for years. Like this is right now, if I'm being honest, is the densest I've felt in at least 6 or 7 years, guys. And so even though I really enjoy the version that I am and I really love the version that I am, it's not my favorite version of myself. Now, why I bring this up is because one, it's great to have that awareness of vibrationally where you're sitting because it lets you know where you're going. But the second part of that is if you want to create a life you love, you need to be in the vibration of that life. You need to be in the vibration that's going to have that magnetic effect to the life that you truly love. Now, being in Australia, I held my vibration for probably about 3 to 4 months when I got back. And I've really noticed the last 2 to 3 months that I've sunk into that heavier vibration. And now I'm just consciously trying to be aware of it and shift that vibration because I know if I stay in this heavier, denser vibration, I'm not going to attract and magnetize that beautiful life that I truly desire because I'm not energetically that person that's living that life. And it's less about where I am, guys. This is another thing I'm trying to bring up by saying that you're a different version of yourself, even if you're at uni or whichever job you're doing, or if you're in your mum phase, that's a different vibration to when you're not a mum. Every partner has a different vibration. So what I want you guys to understand is it's not so much about me going back overseas and becoming that person. It's about me anchoring in and embodying those higher frequencies no matter where I am, which I'm phenomenal at. And I've done that for years, but I've really noticed the last 2 months I've slipped. And that is what I want you guys to understand is that if there's a highest version of yourself that you want to create, what frequency are you in right now? And is that frequency a match? Because for you to get to that life that you truly love, you have to be a frequency and vibrational match. And that's the thing for me that I'm really having to do my homework on at the moment is knowing that physically I love what I'm doing, but vibrationally, I'm not my favorite version of myself. Vibrationally, my favorite version of myself was when I was overseas traveling, my favorite vibration of myself where I was so connected and I was so intuitive and I was so creative. And every day I would just have this feeling of absolute freedom in myself, if that makes sense. And when I'm in Australia, I'm always in so much more of a go, 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 go mood, so much more of a masculine energy. And I don't feel that sense of freedom. And that sense of freedom and the sense of restriction that I feel now, they don't exist. I am just as free now as I was then, and I'm just as restricted now as I was then. So these feelings that I'm feeling, they're coming from within me. They're not coming from my environment. And so, guys, what I want to invite you guys to do is think back to that time and that vibration when you were the version of you that you love the most. Because if you want to attract your highest vibration and your highest timeline, that's what you need to be aiming for. You need to be aiming for that version of you when you felt the best, when you glowed, when you were just so magnetic. As soon as you are tapped into your own soul's essence, and as soon as you're tapped in to that highest vibrational and frequency of yourself, that most joyful, that most playful, that most lightest, creativist, that's when you're most magnetic, and that's when you're going to attract that life in the highest timeline. So if you can't say, I am the highest vibrating version of myself that I've ever been, and I love who I am, then there's a little bit of work to do, because I do love who I am, but I am not the highest vibrational version of myself. And that's my homework, guys. That's what I'm working on at the moment. And so in today's episode, I don't want to keep going on about it because I'm going to be repeating myself. But what I want to really hammer home is, who do you actually want to be? And what life do you actually want to live? Because until you can really land and embody those frequencies in yourself and in your body, you're not going to attract that highest vibrational timeline. Anyway, guys, I really hope you've enjoyed this episode. I've absolutely loved bringing it to you, and I love talking and connecting with you guys. So please feel free to send me a message, connect with me on social media, say hi. If you want to work with me, I'm available. And yeah, I look forward to connecting with you guys again soon.